You won't believe what my neighbor did. He was secretly stealing water from my house, and I found the perfect way to ruin him without even lifting a finger. I recently bought a new house in the capital city of my country. The previous owners were family friends who urgently needed cash, so I got it for a great price. The house had been empty for nearly 3 years, and the previous owners had left it mid-renovation. The main door was locked with just a padlock, and there wasn't even a gate, meaning anyone could just walk in. On the very first day I moved in, I noticed someone's bike parked in my garage. I took it out and parked it on the road. The same day, I had a new gate installed. Later that evening, an angry man knocked on my gate for several minutes. I didn't answer, but from my window, I saw him eventually give up and take his bike away. That was my first bad impression of this neighborhood. After that, things were mostly fine. A few people didn't realize the house wasn't abandoned anymore and blocked my gate often, but a simple, "No parking" sign solved that problem. Then, last week, something strange happened. While I was taking a shower, I noticed my water pressure was unusually low. Around the same time, I heard my next-door neighbor's water pump running. Now, this neighbor, an older man, lived in a 3-story house. He stayed on the ground floor, while the top 2 floors were rented out to tenants. This man wasn't happy that my house had been sold. The previous owners had told me he was bitter about it and had complained a lot. But I didn't really care. I'm a 6-foot guy with 3 dogs. He wasn't going to try anything stupid, or so I thought. In our area, every house uses a water pump to push water to the rooftop tank, since the city water pressure isn't strong enough for multiple floors. So when I heard his pump running and my water pressure dropping, I became suspicious. To test it, I waited until his pump turned off, then turned on my taps again, and sure enough, my water pressure was back to normal. That's when it clicked. He was siphoning water from my supply. I couldn't see exactly where he had connected to my line, but after checking multiple times, it was clear what was happening. It even explained why my water bills were oddly high, even when the house was empty for years. The old man had been stealing water the whole time. Now, water is cheap in my country. Even with my usage, the bill is only around $5 a month. So this wasn't about the money. It was about the principle. This man thought he could use my water for free, and that didn't sit right with me. So, I decided to teach him a quiet little lesson, without breaking any laws. All I did was wait until his water pump turned on, and then I shut off my main water valve. When you starve a pump of water, it keeps running and eventually burns out. What I didn't expect was that his old, faulty wiring would also get overloaded and completely blow out his house's electrical system. At around 3 in the morning, I heard chaos from next door. His tenants were arguing and shouting because they had no power or water. In our country, water and electricity are considered essential services, and landlords are legally required to provide them. By morning, both of his tenants had filed police complaints. He was fined around $500, lost both tenants, and had to refund their deposits. He couldn't even rent the place again until all repairs were completed, which would cost him even more. A few days later, he came to my gate and asked if I had turned off my water. I smiled and said, "Yeah, my plumber was fixing a leak that day, so I shut it off temporarily." He kept a straight face, said, "Oh, okay," and walked away. But I could see it in his eyes. He knew exactly what had happened. Now he's moving in with his daughter because he can't afford to live alone anymore. Meanwhile, I'm getting my plumbing fixed next week to remove any pipes leaving my property. In the end, I solved my water problem, and got rid of a greedy neighbor, just by turning one valve. 2 birds, 1 stone.